Welcome, one and all. I'm Decoy, and I'm here to help you become a better vendor out there in the wasteland. I know some people are struggling with it a little bit. Maybe they're not getting as much foot traffic as they want, and I can understand that struggle. I can. But I think I've figured out how you get people to come check out your camp. Not only that, I've got some other little bits of advice for you when it comes to pricing, location, that sort of thing. Now, before we get into all that, most of the time in the background of the video, you're just going to see different retail style camp locations that you can put your camp at if you would like to. Just be warned, the enemies will spawn at a fair amount of these. Now, if you're not digging any of these locations and you're new to my channel, I have a ton of camp locations. I probably have more camp locations than any other YouTuber. It is insane. Now, let's get back to what you're here for, which is vending. Now, I've heard a lot of people say when it comes to locations that you need to set up your camp at White Spring because White Spring gets a lot of foot traffic. So if you're going to run a good store, you got to be near White Spring. And while it can't hurt to be near White Spring, you don't need to camp near White Spring. I mean, if you're selling the proper things, you could be anywhere on the map and people are going to come visit you. So, what is actually important that you need to be selling to get people's attention? And what you need to look at is the little box over your camp with all those different categories. Your goal should be to have stuff in as many categories as possible. If you can, check every box. Make sure you got a little bit of something in everything. Now, as for what's important in the categories that's definitely going to get people's attention is weapons and armor. It is almost guaranteed that if you have a high number of weapons and armor, people are going to come check out your camp. So, I'll give you an example. My camp, I've got like maybe 10 pieces of armor. I've got 12 weapons. And then I've got a little bit of everything else. And I get a fair amount of foot traffic. And I am nowhere near White Spring. In fact, I don't want to camp anywhere near White Spring. I want no part of that place anymore. I used to live there, but I've moved on. So if you're checking all the boxes, you will definitely get an increase in foot traffic, which is going to increase the odds of you selling stuff. Now, the next hurdle you're going to have past that is going to be your pricing. If you're overcharging for stuff, people aren't going to buy it. Plain and simple. Just like in real life, if something's too much money, people aren't going to pay for it. So if you're wondering, well, what's stuff worth? Decoy, you got to know, right? You know everything. Well, I definitely don't know everything. So, general rule of thumb when it comes to legendary weapons, which should be one of your primary goals for selling, because that will definitely get people's attention. Most legendaries are worth 2,000 caps or less. Most of them. The exception to the rule for valuable, really valuable legendaries is going to be your TSE, your two-shot explosives. Almost all of those are going to be priced at 5,000 plus. Easy. Now, keep in mind when you're pricing your items that we'll just use one-star weapons as an example. A one-star nocturnal weapon versus a one-star bloodied weapon are going to be vastly different. Do not assume that the stars, equal level stars mean equal level price. That is definitely not the case. People are looking for bloodied, instigating, furious, that sort of thing. They don't care about medics and nocturnals. No one really cares. That stuff is really, for the most part, only going to be worth its script. at least at the 1-star level. Now, if you get into the 2-star level and it's got explosive, that's definitely going to raise its value. So, 2-shot explosive, you've got a gold mine. So make sure you're pricing things appropriately. Do not charge more than a vendor in the world would charge for something. That is a horrible idea. You won't sell it. Now, another piece of advice I have is if you have Foshnock stuff left over, the masks, plans, that sort of stuff. Like the masks, they are not worth much right now. They are a dime a dozen. Now, 6 months from now, they might actually be worth a lot. Now, the plans themselves are worth a lot right now. They will only go up in value because once someone uses it, that's one less in existence. I sold a Foshnock plan earlier today for 2,000 caps, and I only put it up to test the waters to see what someone would be willing to pay. And apparently they were definitely willing to pay 2,000 caps. It's insane. Well, that's going to wrap this up. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as usual, please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.